Torts, before we talk about your team, tonight is Military Appreciation Night, and I know that's something that has a near and dear place to your heart because not only is your son in the military, but you appreciate the job that all of those men and women do to protect our freedoms and put their lives on the line and all of that. Again, can you just tell me what it means to you on a night like this, outside of hockey, to celebrate and appreciate the military?
Yeah, and that's the most important note. It's outside of hockey. Hockey is a little blip in the screen compared to what these men and women are doing, have done, have sacrificed, their families have sacrificed in a situation that we find ourselves in, and all the moaning and the miserableness of the year that we've had. It makes you wake up pretty quickly as far as the real stuff. And so I know I'll speak on behalf of our organization. The appreciation that we have seen people come in and talk about some of their stories in real life situation really hits home with us. So I just don't have the words to describe how much is appreciated from me and the organization here. All these men and women, what they do.
All right, let's talk about your team now. And it was a difficult road trip, obviously. You don't win any games on the trip. You played some good games. You were in some games, didn't get a win. But was the last one even tougher to take because you end up losing a goalie before it's all said and done? And I think you lost a goalie that was playing very well during that game, Jonas Korpisalo. Your injuries, you've had a big injury to Boone Jenner, and Zach Werenski's season is over. But, all in all, is a lot of the things that have gone wrong this year haven't been because of injuries, but this one kind of stings down the stretch, doesn't it?
Well, I feel bad for Corpy because I think Corpy had been fighting it for a number of games prior to that start. Kept us in the second period when we just gave up too many odd man rushes, and he made some very important saves to keep us in it. And it's a little bit of the bad news bears. You could see Corpy was hurt. The prior play before the cross ice pass, same play, and you knew he wasn't going to get over there. And it just figures. He gives us an opportunity, and he still tries to push across. He just can't push across. They tie the game, and they end up winning in overtime. But I hope he feels good about his game, because that was the most important thing for me. Because there had been some struggles in his prior games. He was that good in that game.
I know you don't have many games left, but does that injury, as you've been looking at different people at different positions here for the last couple of weeks, does that open the door maybe for somebody else to get a look before the season's over?
As far as the goaltender?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Kivy's going to back up. I'll leave it up to Manny and Yarmo to direct me. Tarasov's here now. Well, Elvis is going to start. I'll go from game to game, and I'll talk to Yarmo and Manny and see how they want to go about it. I want to give them the best opportunity as far as what they need to look at. Because there's some decisions coming up with our two goalies. Who knows where it all goes? So I'll confer with them as we play our next game.
You mentioned Tarasov and him being here, and not that I don't want to ask you about him playing specifically, but what I do want to ask you is the importance of what he's gone through. He played the season in the KHL. He comes over. He goes to Cleveland. He's had good success in Cleveland. They've played well in front of him. He's put up some good numbers. And when you get into this kind of the year, in the way that you've dealt with it in the past, you've seen players that have done really well at the AHL level. And are there times that maybe you don't want to bring them in and put them with the team? You want to leave them where they're going to continue to have success, because you love to talk about the mental part of the game, and feeling good about yourself is kind of number one, especially as a goaltender. You want to get that confidence when you come over from Europe to North America, don't you?
Yeah, and notwithstanding, Kivy's been banging away here. He's been playing. He's played some games with us. He's been grinding away. There is a little bit of a merit to it also. I know nothing about the goalie, just what I've heard. I hear he has tremendous potential. People really talk very high level in the organization, which is great. But I think Kivy has shown he can play in the National Hockey League. And do we just bypass him and put Tarasov in if we don't want to play Elvis? I'm not so sure. Yeah, you know how I feel. You wait your turn, and I think that's a huge part of a process of a player, and that includes goaltenders. So, but I have open conversations in this situation with our general manager, and because I want him, he's got to make the decisions come the expansion draft and trade and this, that, the other thing. I need to listen to him too and get information from him.
And I think that's one of the greatest things about you, where sometimes it can be considered old school mentality, that wait your turn. There is something to be said, not only in hockey, but in life, about the work that you put in, setting you up for a chance. And, it's frustrating at times if you are Matisse Kivlenieks and you get overlooked because the other guy is supposed to be the next best thing coming up. That's very frustrating.
Yeah, yeah, and I just don't think it's fair, and uh, these are conversations I have with Yarmo all the time that we want to look, but when we're within the season that really means something, and okay, he has the potential. We've seen him do this, we've seen him do that, and I get that Yarmo has that. The management team and the scouts have that. They've seen him. I haven't. I'm watching him play today. I watch him play Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, whatever it may be. I got to make decisions. They deserve to play Thursday versus some other guys. So that's where you have that constant tug of war, I guess, as far as who gets the opportunities in offensive situations and up in the lineup, whatever it may be, without earning it. There is still a lot to be said, and I know Giammo believes this. That's what I like working with him. Merit is a very important thing here with him too, because that's how you build the foundation of a player.
Another guy that kind of falls into that boat a little bit to me is Liam Foudy, because I think from a fan standpoint, they're saying, okay, if you're playing out the string, if you're playing to see what you have in the future, why is this guy not here? Why is he not playing? Why is he in the American Hockey League? I would counter that by saying he's in the American Hockey League playing big minutes, important roles, important situations. He's put up a lot of points. Um, and again, that's the way it used to be. You used to go there, you used to earn it, and then you used to come to the National Hockey League. But for a guy like that, who you've had in and out of your lineup too, is it good for him to be in that situation where he's playing top minutes and he's getting that kind of experience?
Yeah, and he's had some success down here of late too. And he's Bobby. He's going to be in our lineup tonight. And I haven't seen it transform from the American League to here. And remember the American League. The American League's here. It's with our taxi squad. Basically, it's kind of a screwed up year because a lot of the American League guys that would be playing big minutes down there are with us. And this is what hurts like Peaker. I'd love for Peaker to be down there playing minutes because he just struggled. The games I gave him, he was struggling. And you have to make a determination of a player when they're struggling, especially in that position defense. I know I'm getting off subject from Liam, but you got to make sure that you're not setting them up for failure either as you're trying to develop them. And I'd love for Pico to be down there playing a bunch of minutes, but because he's on our roster, there's so many different rules this year. And this is where I think the Players Association is asked backwards, that they're hurting their own players, quite honestly, as far as developing and some of the things we have to do. Along with the league, they have to, but I digress. I don't want to get into that. But so Foods will play. And we'll see where he's at. He's scored some points, scored a couple goals the other night, done some really good things. We need to see it come up here in the National Hockey and do the same thing.
Actually, you didn't get off subject because Andrew Peak was the next guy on my list, to be honest with you, to ask you about that. And I'm glad you brought up the taxi squad, because you're right. This year, it's not black and white. It's not you're in the American Hockey League, you're in the National Hockey League. There is a gray area. And I guess some guys are getting caught in that gray area, aren't they?
Oh, the taxi squad's awful. It's awful. When we put our roster in after the trade deadline, we put Peaker on our roster because we were going to play him. And we didn't. And you have 4 call-ups. You only have 4 call-ups out of that taxi squad through the rest of the year. And we knew we were going to use one with Foudy. Yarmo had planned them out. But I played Peaker, and it was a struggle. He looked a little bit overwhelmed, and I don't care what people think, what he's supposed to be, or the potential, or what everybody wants him to be. I'm watching what he is, and I have to take care of that too, and not hurt this kid. He hasn't played a lot of games over the past year, and it's such a tough position to play, and not play a bunch of games to improve. But I don't want to hurt his development too by keeping him in there and just failing. And that's what I felt he was doing. he will get another opportunity. I hope him being out and slowing himself down, practicing, he'll come in and play better. But those are the things you have to think about, not just people saying, well, he's supposed to be this. This is what the organization he's going to be. I have to watch it and make decisions accordingly.
Yeah, and again, it comes back to that mental part of the game. I mean, look at the team that you inherited when you came here 6 years ago. Guys that won a Calder Cup in the American Hockey League migrated to the National Hockey League, the Oliver Bjorkstrands, the Josh Andersons, the Zach Werenskis, the Jonas Korpisalos, and they were used to winning. They were trained to be winners. And I think you make a great point. If you're an Andrew Peak and you get in and you struggle and things aren't going your way, whether you want it to be or not, it's going to be in the back of your mind that either, maybe I'm not cut out for this. Oh, I can't do this. He'll start to think too much, which hurts the development, right?
Yeah. I just got to be really careful with especially on that defense position. It's such a tough position to play. I don't think you give up on people. Defense is a position you never give up on people. You never know when they're going to mature. And that's what you're saying is mentally. And I do. I just think Andrew's had some struggles when he's played. We took him out of there kind of to save him a little bit. Bayreuther's come in and played well. We're looking at, Yarmo's looking at Bayreuther. We're looking at Mikko, giving him some minutes. Michael Delzato, his contract's up after this year, looking at him. There's all things that come into play. And Kook's played a couple good games, deserves to be in. So we'll see. But it's not because we don't like the player. We're trying to do the player some justice here as far as backing him off, let him regroup, and let's give him another whack at it here in a little bit. This is where when you're on the roster in the taxi squad and you can't send him down, that's where he's losing a lot of minutes. Best thing that happened for Liam Foudy was to just because he was really struggling. Just go give him a ton of minutes. Goes down there and plays well. Again, it's a league that's a little bit watered down now because they're all here. I want to see, I'm going to put him in an offensive position. I'm going to probably start him with Patty and Jack tonight on wing, put him in an offensive position and see where we go with it.
Will you talk to him about that beforehand, or how do you handle that?
Yeah, I talk to them when they go down. I talk to them when they come back up. So there's always constant communication. I just talked to Peaker this morning. He wants to play, wants to know why he isn't. Shazi, who's his position coach, is going to show him and explain to him. I gave him some general terms on what I thought, but sometimes you got to wait your turn, and that may sometimes waiting your turn isn't a bad way because the player is just arrogant and he thinks he should be here. That's not what Peaker. Peaker just wants to know how he can improve. Shazi's going to explain some things to him. Hopefully, when he comes back in, he'll improve on some things, and then he starts getting a foundation.
As we've talked about before, this is the why generation, right? It's not just they always want to know why, which is not a bad thing, by the way.
No, it isn't. And Bobby, it's really good for the coaches too, because sometimes back in the day, you really didn't explain why, and you just told them. And this is the communication's two-way here, and they have a right to ask questions. I don't want any player confused when they go home at night to go to bed. That's my goal at the end of the day. You have something to ask. I'm going to tell you. You may not like it, but I'm going to tell you. At least you know where you stand, and that's what we're going through the process with Peaker today.
Again, this generation has every answer in the world on their phone. They just have to Google it. So that's why they want to know.
That's a whole nother subject.
No, we're not getting into that. You mentioned Gavin Bayreuther. I do want to ask you, well, him and Mikko Lehtinen, when you put these guys in, I think with both of them, you're seeing you can't just look at a guy for one game. It is over a stretch of games. I think Lehtinen, I thought his first game in Tampa really stood out. Then he kind of drops off, and now he's kind of back here and there. Bayreuther, what have you thought of him? I mean, I've noticed him when he has played. What have you thought?
Yeah, a gamer. Looks up the ice, tries to make the easy play, skates out of trouble, is willing to be in the physical battles also. Now, he's played 4 games, and sometimes you play your first few games on adrenaline, and you got to figure out when's this guy going to level up? What is he exactly? It's going to take more games to see that, but he deserves to be in because I think he's shown us some stuff. He's gotten us out of our end zone. He uses his legs, and I just like his energy, and he's going to play again tonight. And we'll see where it goes from there.
All right, who are you taking out of your lineup tonight? You've told me the guys you're putting in. Who are you taking out?
Oh God, who am I taking out? I am taking out Dunner's down. I think Dunner was sent down. Foodie's coming in, and I think that's the only change we have tonight. Yeah, that's the only change. The defense is staying the same, and obviously Elvis is going to play goal.
was nice to see Robinson get a couple of goals the other night, wasn't it?
Yeah, yeah. The puck follows him. He's one of our. I don't really believe in the plus minus, but it does give you a little bit of barometer. One of our few plus players now has what does he have here now? 7 goals, 7 assists. Still has a lot to learn about the game, but he stays in that lineup with me because of his legs. I think he causes problems for teams just getting on pucks and allowing us to get some forechecking going. A team that, quite honestly, this year has been starved for forechecking. He gets involved in that quite a bit for us, and good for him. The puck falls and he scores a couple of goals.
Does he need just a little bit more grit in his game? I'm looking at him. He's got his speed. We've talked about he struggles getting the puck on net and finishing sometimes.
Yeah.
But if there was just a little bit more of an edge there, how much better of a player would that make him?
You know what? I think he's willing, Bobby. I think he has to learn how to body check and not run people out of the building. But he takes himself off of plays because I think his legs get in the way. His legs gets him there. But sometimes his legs takes him right out of the play where he misses the guy as far as finishing a check. The battling, I think, is a mental part of the game. I think he has to learn to be a little bit tougher there mentally as far as staying in the battles and not so much picking. He's got to get his nose over the puck more is the best way to say it. He's got to be in it, not just be there and be in it, be in it. And there's a difference as far as puck battles. Puck skills still need to improve. His puck skills still need to improve. But this is still a pretty young guy. He's a college guy, a little bit older, but he's still going through growing as a player. I think he's given us some good minutes this year.
Last guy I want to ask you about is Grigorenko. He had a goal the other night. He's been in and out of your lineup. I think that he's been a quiet guy. I get the impression he's been a quiet pro for you. Am I right?
Yeah, he's been a good pro. He's a little bit too quiet for me. Not so much with speaking or anything. I don't expect him to speak if he doesn't want to speak. He's been a little bit too quiet on the ice. You can see his skill. You can see his shot. He can pass a puck. I always ask him the question. I just don't see you. I need to see you more involved in the game. I want to see more of an energy in his game, and not by talking. That's being around the puck and wanting the puck more. Everything about his game, I just want to see him in it more. And yeah, so he may see. I'm going to try Foods up there. He may see some time back up there with Patty and Jack. Yeah, so he's been in and out because I think that's where he's belonged. I think he's been an inconsistent player for us.
When you talk about energy, and you've said in these last couple of games, sometimes for guys like, let's say, Seth Jones, Cam Atkinson, you're on a team that's going nowhere. You're not going to the playoffs. That energy can be hard to come by. But for guys like a Grigorenko or a Lettman or a Bayruther that are battling for future jobs, that energy shouldn't be a problem, right?
No, it shouldn't be. It should be. Honestly, it shouldn't be for anybody. It's different for different people, as you just explained. But for guys that are on their last years or want to continue the National Hockey League and try to make a stand, yeah. Look at Michael Del Zotto. Michael's trying everything he can, not only showcase himself for our organization, but everybody else in the league, because he's done after this year. So, and plus, you got to give for your team. That's what I respect about Jonesy the most. I don't think he has taken one shift off since all his buddies left. Very close with Savvy, and since they all left, we had injuries. Boone, Z, his partner. I don't think he's taken one shift off. I think he's a true definition of a leader
and a pro.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. He is. He's grown. Early on, him and I had some. We went through the waves, I guess, and. But I'm learning from him now. I'm learning from him, and I love watching him play because I just think he's handled himself so well in a very tough year.
I know. Someday it's going to be a trivia question. What coach sat down Seth Jones for the how long did you sit him in that game against Chicago there in that first year you were here? You sat him for an entire period, I think.
An entire period, the game meant nothing. It was one of these games like we're playing here, and I was just so sick and tired of him not being ready to play. I said, how the hell with him? And because I wanted to send a message to him for next year. And we talk about it now and we laugh about it. But, but I haven't looked back. You never see that guy not ready to play. So I hope that helped a little bit of a nudge there.
Yeah, that trivia question will be, who was the idiot coach that sat
Yes.
Seth Jones?
Well, There's a lot of questions about this idiot co-chair, I'm sure, Bobby. So that's a long list.
I know that takes more than one show. Thank you, Torts. I appreciate it very much, and best of luck tonight.
All right, Bobby, be well.